नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 7, text 29. Jara marana mokshaya mam ashritya yatanti ye te brahma tad viduhu kritsnam adhyatmam karma chakhilam. So Krishna says in this verse, Jara marana mokshaya, for the purpose of liberation from Jara and Marana. Moksha means liberation. Liberation from what? Jara and Marana. Jara means old age, Mara means death. So these two actually can be freed. One can be freed from these two tribulations. People don't know that. People accept it as a fact of life. Ah, yeah, people, they go through these stages. We have to get old, we have to die. But Bhagavad Gita is saying that you can become freed from it. So there are people, after understanding Bhagavad Gita, they pray for that. Mokshaya, for the purpose of liberation from this Jara and Marana, what do they do? Or what is Krishna recommending them to do? Mam Ashritya. So Jara Marana Mokshaya, for the purpose of liberation from old age and death, Mam Ashritya, one who takes shelter of me, Yatanti, one who endeavors after in that path of surrender to me, ye, those who, te Brahma. Te Brahma means not Lord Brahma. They become Brahman. Brahman means spiritual. In other words, who can be called spiritual? Sometimes we see people come to temple or meet outside, they say, I am spiritual person, not a religious person. You might have encountered such people. So by that what they mean is I am open-minded, but I don't subscribe myself to any religion. Religion is dogmatic. It'll tell you what to do. It'll kill your logic, intellect. All these are phantasmagoria. When it is said, oh, Lord Brahma is born from the navel of Lord Vishnu through a lotus stem that sprouts. Oh, this all is phantasmagoria. It doesn't seem logical. But the problem is, they want to fit God into their logic. Unless God comes into their logic, they cannot accept God. They cannot accept religion. That means it's a limited conception of God. They want God as an ordinary human being like you and me, subject to the regular tribulations of birth, death, old age, disease, isn't it? Because if I tell you somebody can live forever, you'll say, no, it doesn't sound logical. That means they want to bring God to a normal human being level. Then how can he be God? The definition of God itself means has to is a supreme being. Should not conform to this material world, the tribulations, the limitations of this material world. So how can you argue that he has to fit in my logic? This is a poor understanding of God. There is no accept those who say that like that, there is no acceptance that they are limited. I want to understand everything logically. God starts after your logic ends. Of course, it doesn't mean to say that there is no logic in scripture, there is no logic to religion. We should, as Prabhupada's books, everything is delineated with intelligence, with logic. Chaitanya Charitamrita author says, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Dayar Vichar Karo ho. Vichar Karo means you apply your proper intelligence, logic. Vichar karite pabe chitte chamatkar. If you actually properly apply your logic and take to the process, you will see that chamatkar, that realization. There are many things people do by faith. You know, if you have joint pains, for example, there are many people who go to the therapists and they say, to relieve pain in this side of the body, like for example, you have pain on the left shoulder or left knee or whatever, they say you have to do some rotations on the right side of the body. And actually, it works because we don't know. The brain has neurons, wirings that they cannot prove. But if you do it, it works. If you rotate the joints in such a way, make it more mobilized, it works. So where is your logic? So the point is, once you follow the process given by the authority, then gradually you realize things are manifesting, things are happening the way it is described. When you take shelter of Krishna, when you follow Krishna consciousness, you will see yourself more blissful, more strong to face the adversities of life, more detached from material hankerings. And then your conviction becomes stronger. Things start to fall in place. Then everything sounds logical. So we cannot demand God. So the point is, Te Brahma, one who surrenders to Krishna, Mam Ashritya Yatanti, one who surrenders to Krishna and endeavors for deliverance from this old age and disease, Te Brahma, they are truly spiritual. Brahman means spiritual. We are spirit souls, not the bodies. Krishna is ultimately the Parabrahman, the complete spirit. So to reinstate ourselves as part and parcel of Krishna, not in terms of merging with that supreme Parabrahman, but in identity and desire, to become subservient of Krishna's desires, to identify ourselves as servant of Krishna. That is called truly coming to our Brahman stage. Te Brahma, Tat Viduhu Kritshnam. They understand everything about Brahman. Adhyatmam Karma Chakilam. Adhyatmam Karma Chakilam means they know everything about transcendental and fruitive activities and material activities. So this is the shloka. So in spiritual body there is no jara marana. Only in the material body there is old age and death. Because this body does not last. There is a expiry date. For every product we look at expiry date. This body is also a material product. But we think we can live forever. But the spiritual body, as a spirit soul, we have a spiritual body. This material body is a covering to that spiritual body. There is no old age and death for that spiritual body. So Jara Marana, that's applying only to the material body. There was one Westerner when I was distributing books, Bhagavad Gita. I stopped one Westerner and asked him to take Bhagavad Gita. And then he seemed to be a little philosophical person, seemed to understand these concepts of liberation and all of that. Not necessarily Krishna conscious. And he said, Can I be liberated? So usually people, the spirituality, they talk about liberation after death. So his question was, can I be liberated even when I am in this body without waiting for death? Because I don't know what will happen after death. Can I get rid of all these tribulations within this body itself? And the best news is, Bhagavad Gita does say that you can become liberated even in this body. And I showed him that shloka. Actually, there are several of them, but I showed him at least one. In 14th chapter, Krishna talks about in the 20th verse, as well as in the 26th verse, I believe. Krishna talks, Prabhupada quotes it so many times. Mam chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Gunan samatitya means you can become transcendental to the effects of these gunas. How? By avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate. By serving Krishna, unflinchingly serving Krishna, sincerely serving Krishna. That's the simple formula to overcome the effects of these modes. And in the 20th verse, 14.20 also Krishna says, Gunanetan atityatrin dehi deha samudbhavan janma bandha vinirmuktair padam gachantyanamayam. I think something like that. Maybe I'm mixing up third and fourth lines. But essentially, Krishna is saying that these three modes, atitya, one can transcend. Gunanetan atityatrin. In this body itself, dehi deha samudbhavan. So you need not wait for liberation also. That's the beauty of Krishna consciousness. The other beautiful example the acharyas give, like for example, you take this coconut, so green coconut, and then you shake water. You can hear the sound of the water inside it. But let's say you keep it like that in the sun for a few days. That green coconut will become dry coconut. And after a while, after a few days, you take the dry coconut and you shake it, you will not hear the water anymore. You will hear a solid sound. What is the sound? It is the sound of the coconut shell inside. It has become dry and it starts to vibrate because it has become disconnected from the external coconut shell. It's completely disconnected. But if you shake it, it goes and touches the boundary of the shell and it produces a sound. That means even though we are in this body, we can become completely transcendental and disconnected from the bodily tribulations. It's possible. Like Prabhupada gives a very interesting example and derives how it is possible. Like, Russia, there is this famous revolutionary leader called Stalin. So it seems this Stalin, he was a powerful fighter, and once he had to be operated on his body, some portion of his body, they had to do surgery. And so they got him on the operation theater and they said, no, we have to give you this numbing medicine so that you will not feel the pain of the surgery. And he said, no, I don't need it. You go on doing your surgery. And they were shocked. And they did it. And he tolerated it. And he didn't even flinch. And the reason why Prabhupada mentioned is because he was so absorbed in his mission. He was so focused and absorbed and thinking about his mission, what has to be done. He was always alert and passionate that he could tolerate that. So, if something like that can happen materially, just imagine spiritually. If you're always in Krishna consciousness, like you are that inner coconut, the external doesn't matter for you. You're always connected with Krishna. So this is called liberation, true liberation. You don't even need to wait for the time of death. And if you remain in that consciousness at the time of death, actually you go back to Krishna Loka or Vaikuntha. So this verse is referring to the Mokshakami Bhaktas. Mokshaya. You know, in 7.16, few verses ago, we saw four kinds of bhaktas who come to Krishna. Um, Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukritino arjuna arto jignasur ardhardhi gnani. Those who are distressed, to relieve their distress, to ask for financial aid, to who are inquisitive, and those who are seeking knowledge. They come to Krishna and they eventually become devotees. And now Krishna is mentioning fifth kind who want liberation from this world and go back to Godhead. That is mokshaya, the mokshakami bhaktas. So where Prabhupada also talks about in the purport. And the best thing is they surrender to Krishna and they endeavor in that. And then they become liberated or they become spiritual. Te Brahma. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, only persons who perform activities in Krishna consciousness, Mama Shritya, are actually entitled to be called Brahman because they are actually endeavoring to reach the Krishna planet. Such persons have no misgivings about Krishna and thus they are factually Brahman. So these two keywords are there in this shloka, Brahman and Adhyatma. So why I'm bringing this up? Because in 8th chapter, the very first question Arjuna asks, because Krishna is talking about these technical words, Arjuna wants Krishna to expound further. Kim tat brahma kim adhyatmam kim karma purushottama. He asks in the first verse of 8th chapter. Because now Krishna is bringing these concepts. Brahman, Adhyatma. And in the next verse, Krishna brings in four new concepts. Karma, Sadhi Bhutadi, Daivam, Sadhi Yagnam, Prayana Kale. So all these six questions Arjuna asks in the first verse of 8th chapter. So there was this American philosopher called Henry David Thoreau. He is quite famous in his philosophy. And the best thing is, his name is provided at the back side of Bhagavad Gita in some editions. And he is known for his accolades on Bhagavad Gita. So Thoreau, this philosopher, his health slowly declined over a period of 3 years before his death. And at the as he approached the death, his friends were alarmed at his diminished appearance. But still, they were fascinated by the tranquility he maintained, acceptance of his death. And then his aunt asked him in the last weeks if he had made peace with God. Because She found that sometimes his philosophical writings, he was, writing in such a way that he was questioning the existence and those kind of things, the creation. But he said, I did not know we had ever quarreled. So, how did he achieve this freedom from the fear of death? How did he lead his life? He himself says, in the morning, I bathe my intellect in the stupendous and cosmogonal philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita, in comparison with which our modern world and its literature seem puny and trivial. So, this is the, if somebody really applies, such an intelligent person really applies themselves to Bhagavad Gita, that bathes their intelligence. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said, Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Atma Snapanam. Snapanam means snanam or taking bath. If you immerse yourself with Krishna consciousness, particularly by chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, it is like bathing our spirit soul. Bathing means cleansing our impurities. So, in order to cleanse our impurities, only Krishna can do that. Krishna's words can do that. Nothing can cleanse us except Krishna. Krishna is the ultimate purifier. Shunvatam swakatha Krishna punyashravana kirtanah hridyantastho hi abhadrani vidunoti suhrutsatam. When you hear about Krishna, Krishna enters your heart, and vidunoti suhrutsatam, being the truthful well-wisher and benefactor of the sincere devotee who is trying to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. He cleanses the desire for material, he cleanses that material contamination in the heart of the devotee. That's the only way one can be purified. Otherwise, purification is not possible. And once one is purified, naturally one becomes blissful and be reinstated into that eternal condition of no birth, no disease, no death. Artificially, it's not possible. Like people, they are trying to artificially increase the duration of life, isn't it? They want to, by advancement of medicine, by introducing chips inside the body, by reading some measurements, some releasing some chemicals, taking medicines, hormones. They want to increase the duration of life. And they even say, oh, the technology will advance so much that in the future people can live hundreds of years. But they cannot promise they can eradicate death. So Bhagavatam says, let's say, okay, you increased the duration of life. So Sukadeva Goswami is very sternly he's saying in Bhagavatam, Taravaha kim na jivanti, bhastrah kim na shvasantyuta, na khadanti na medanti, kim grame pashavo pare. He says, okay, you are trying to increase your life, but taravaha kim na jivanti, do the trees not live? The trees, like recently we went to this forest near Santa Cruz. We had this Harinam Sankirtan. And so these trees, we were told, some of them were thousands of years old. So we hardly live 100 years, and these trees are living thousands of years. So does it mean the tree has become greater? The life of a tree is successful just by increasing the duration? It's actually a punishment. Stay there with all kinds of weather, inclement weathers. So one may say, oh, the tree is just staying there, it does not breathe. So Sukadeva Goswami says, Bhastraha kimna shvasantyuta. Bhastra means the bellows of blacksmith. So it is also breathing. So what is the bellows of the blacksmith breathes very soundly, but that does not mean the bellows has life. No, but they may say, oh, life is not just living and breathing. It is by enjoying eatable, I mean, palatable dishes and enjoying, you know, union with the opposite gender. These are all wonderful things in life that they cannot do, the trees cannot do, the bellows of blacksmith cannot do. So Bhagavatam says, na khadanti na mehanti kim grama pashavo apare. Whether these animals like dogs and hogs living in the same village with the human beings, do they not eat? Do they not enjoy this union with their partners? So, what is your great credit if you are doing the same things as these animals and you want to increase a life like the tree? So, it is because of ignorance of our spiritual nature. We tend to become absorbed in bodily conception and try to artificially conquer old age and death. Jara Marana Mokshaya artificially yatanti. Instead of mam ashritya yatanti, they are trying maya ashritya yatanti. So instead of becoming te brahma, they are becoming te abrahma. And they get bound again and they take the bodies. You know, if you become so attached to something in this life, very dangerous. So people have these pets, dogs, and people spend so much money and time to build beautiful houses, even in their old ages. Very dangerous. They might either become dogs or some kind of a cockroach or something in that house, or the dog who keeps that house from others. It's very dangerous. So instead, take shelter of Krishna, who is the ultimate protector. When everything fails, Krishna's protection does not fail. As Krishna himself says, Arjuna, declare it boldly. Chipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranasyati. My bhakta will never perish. His body may perish, but his spirit, he is held very protectively by me. He's taken to good destination. Progressively, he is going back to Godhead. So that we should do that. And all of that can happen when we, as I said, hearing should be there, and then chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And nicely doing service, whatever we can. This is how we can conquer Jara Marana. We'll stop here. Anyone has any questions or comments? Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Sadapranam, all
Hare
glories to
Krishna.
Srila Prabhuji, today in the class you mentioned like we are prolonging the life by uh, getting some eh, um, like instruments in our body, and if it is needed, my question is, like stunts and all, if you have a blocks in your heart and all, those were given to, like if on an emergency basis, if you go to hospital, then they will give you that, right? But it sometimes those are required also for you to function. So how do we draw a line whether anyway we are destined to live, so not to take any of those things, but still then we will be suffering a lot versus
Yeah,
taking
so
it. So
very
how
good
to take
question.
that?
Very good question. So even Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj says these are all countermeasures. We do it as a matter of duty, but we should not think that they are the ultimate, they are the only ultimate measures, and we should not, God is not there, and no, there's no need to surrender to God. As a matter of duty, we should do whatever we have in mind, whatever we have in our ability. Like Prabhupada also mentions in the Krishna book, Vasudeva was trying to protect Devaki. So, whatever he could as a duty, he was trying. So, one should do whatever is in their capacity to protect their body so that they can serve Krishna. That's the idea. But ultimate, we should have a conviction that these are all only temporary measures. The ultimate protector is Krishna. Krishna wants to protect only, these will work. Krishna will come through a doctor. Krishna will come through that medicine. Like Krishna says in the ninth chapter. What is that shloka? Um, I am the herb, I am the medicinal herb. So you can refer to that. So basically, that's the idea. You can take all these measures, but have the understanding that Krishna is the real protector. But the point is to tell that don't think that only these measures can help you and God is not there, not needed. That's the point.
Okay, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita